Welcome to Cross-Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. You are on Blacklist Universe. And of course, a plane has to be flying overhead at the moment we start this
precise time.
Precise moment. Thank you, airplane. Today with me, I have the great, the glorious, the only Elliot Fernandez.
I'll take only, probably not great or glorious, but thank you.
You'll take what I give you, mister.
I'm so sorry.
All right, fine then. Okay. All right, let's see. Live events. I need to edit, make sure this is working. So today's topic. Sorry I said retarded, but kill him anyway.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It seems very strange. It's a title that I had to actually alter in order for Twitch to accept it because it's a violation word. So probably demonetized, but I don't monetize cross-examinations anyways. This is a ministry, and therefore I don't take the monies for it.
Very good.
So I can use words like retarded.
Okay. Well,
this is very
retarded has a very clinical definition.
That is correct. And it's a word I use. I have a retarded son, and it drives. Why? What is going on with this? Is it a helicopter? Just over and over. Bloody heck. All right, hold on a second. Tags.
So yeah, man, I don't get notifications for you.
Yeah?
That's weird.
For cross-examinations in particular, huh? It's probably because I use words like retarded.
Probably. I'm just looking at the. I'm back on YouTube, looking at the chat now. So I'm like, I didn't get any.
Yeah, no. Yeah, P Money asked me today if I would please. Oh my gosh. You know what it is? I think it's a ghetto bird.
What?
Ghetto bird. You never heard that phrase before? Ghetto bird's
no.
It's a helicopter. I live next door to a not a very great neighborhood.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah, I
get those all the time. Although I'm often waiting for someone to knock on my door. Mr. Fernandez.
No, I always get the. There's a man running around with a green shirt with a yellow blah blah blah. Please keep an eye out. It's like you can never quite understand what they're saying, you know.
Yeah.
They're looking for a missing child. He's 13 years old. The fire suit. I'm like, child? What?
What? I just heard mumble. It's like the Charlie Brown teacher.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, officer.
Let me see if we've got anybody in here yet. I guess I could go to my live dashboard and that's easier. Okay. Is this not the live dashboard for this stream?
Your guess is as good as mine, brother.
I know you can't see anything. You can't see nothing. All right. Yeah, so my title for this is, sorry, I said R equals tard equals D, but kill him anyway. 29 people watching. Honestly, have you ever heard so much noise at my house? I don't even know.
To be honest, I don't hear anything.
Oh, really?
My speaker. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I'm about ready to close my window because it's
I mean, it's probably background. I mean, I just heard myself talk through your mic, but that's
yeah. All right, let me close my window.
All right. So I need to pull up some.
Oh, that's so much quieter. So much quieter. And everybody, with me here today is Max, chilling on the chair behind me. Max.
Oh, I'm grabbing my copy of Lone Star.
Oh yeah.
So I can use reference properly. Proper reference.
Elliot will be painting Lone Star as we talk about all things biblical and then, you know, the topic of the day.
Right.
Why are you taking the cat? Gosh. My wife just came in here, opened the door, and said, Max, and he left. Whatever.
Because you don't know is Max is actually a cat with a secret agent cat.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
And I don't know why my contrast is so high. I look like I'm glowing. I think I'm having an Ethan effect. All right, P Money, yay, got notified. All right, P Money. 7-String Skyline, Dennis Peruse, what's up, guys? Michael Pronesti, withheld rather not say. Lady Celtic Moon, howdy, howdy. Andrew J, WK, X-Gal. Comics Forever. Last night I ordered a couple of Lone Star comics. Thank you very much. Actually, as long as we're here and I am in campaign mode, I know usually I don't waste time promoting my comic books. Whoop, that's... I think it's on the wrong thing anyways. No, this should be Lone Star Soul Soldier. Okay. Let's see that. And let's just do a real quick looky-see here and refresh. See where we're at. I went to bed last night. It was at 67,303.
Nice, nice.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby
Not
at all.
shabby at all.
And I woke up this morning. Afternoon. Well, I woke up this morning, but it's this afternoon. 67,833. I had a decent late night or morning, whatever it was. So
Very
thank
cool.
you, one and all. And again, if you guys have not checked out Lone Star Soul of the Soldier, get in there. There's only 39 early bird specials left. So get in there, do what you got to do, and transition. All right.
Transition. That's great.
Usually, yeah, that may have the wrong connotation nowadays, but it's a thing in OBS. You press the transition button in it, whatever you're setting up, it transitions it to the live screen.
Right.
So, anyways, anyhow, has everyone hit the like button and the share button as they have come in, including you, Elliot? Have you hit the share button?
I'm gonna do that right now.
All right, please do. Thank you very much. Actually,
I changed my setup a little bit. I'm actually kind of not. You know how I usually work at my computer desk, and I just shifted my drawing table closer to my computer desk, and now I'm kind of sliding across.
mm-hmm.
So it's a little more of me stretching over to my mouse than it used to be, but it saves my computer space just for computer space, and I can just draw over here. So
yeah, someday I'm going to oh god, maybe move into another house. I don't know. Someday I'm gonna. I say like someday I'm gonna do something, but really I'm not, because I don't have the space to do anything. So I'd probably literally have to either move into a bigger house, or I'd have to take the room in the garage and I'd have to redo it.
Well, I tell you, I'm planning on downsizing a little more. Actually, I'm thinking that's smarter. I'm not going to be able to. I don't know.
How many kids you got?
I got the two. My daughter, she's almost 13 years old.
How many bedrooms you got?
3.
3 bedrooms, 2 kids. You're golden, man.
Yeah.
I've got
Well,
4. I've got 5 kids and 4 bedrooms.
Oh yeah. You're much more dire straight than I am.
You should see the boys' room. It's got two sets of bunk beds. I call it the barracks. It's the boys' room, and then Eden is the only person in the house that has her own room.
And of course, it's rightly so.
Right. And then this is another bedroom, which is the office / homeschool computer. This is the everything else room. This is what we call the dump. Everything in the house that my wife doesn't think belongs in some other area of the house gets dumped in here, and then she tells me to clean it up.
Yeah, that happens here too. Yeah. Well, it used to be a garage. We converted it into an office space, and for the most part, it is. But then there's a lot of stuff, and she says it's all mine, and I agree with her for the most part. Maybe 80%, but that other 20% is large.
Yeah. 20% in number, 70% in mass.
Yeah. Just saying. Oh man, but no, I'm just looking forward to, I just have so much stuff, and I go through this every once in a while. I go through these little cycles of like, okay, what's necessary in life? Is this all necessary? And I start to go through doing an inventory of what I have, and usually I end up I'm able to give things away, which is always a good thing. To maybe, especially like comic books. I don't need that many, this giant library.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've done the whole dumpster thing twice, and we still have so much garbage, man. Still have so much stuff. Hey, by the way, your camera is aimed too low for what you're drawing.
Oh, okay. Here we go. It's gonna be hard to see anyway, but I'm drawing light HB. But by the way, man, I gotta compliment you on your character design. This guy really looks like a real person. Like every time I've drawn him, I've always drawn him exactly the same way, because the way you depict the character is very distinct and the same way every time. Pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
That's a cool. Now, I mean, it's not like a John Byrne thing where everybody looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
your
true.
guy looks like your guy.
Thanks, man. Wow. I appreciate the compliment. Does anyone in the chat? There are no comments or questions from yesterday's live stream, probably because I was eating tostadas and TJ tacos, and didn't really delve deeply into the word yesterday because I took a walk yesterday. Did you see my show yesterday?
I didn't. Malin described it.
I was just really, really behind schedule yesterday. I got up way too late, and so I'm like, I'm hitting two birds with one stone. So I took my walk, and I did cross-examinations at the same time, and I just called it crosswalk examinations.
Nice.
And then, I just, we just talked, answered questions and whatnot, and then on my way home, I was like, should I just go home and boil some eggs, or should I go get a tostada? And everybody in the chat was like, tostada. All right.
Well,
tostada it is.
Well, I had today for Mother's Day. I received breakfast in bed. My daughter was on a roll, doing stuff for Mom, and she said, "I'm going to do this for Dad," and I was so blessed by that. That was cool.
But Mother's Day is tomorrow, Elliot.
I know, but we're doing a lot of celebrating today because my mom's, obviously my mom, her mom, my wife's mom, my mother-in-law. It's also my mother's birthday, also my father-in-law's birthday. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it's a lot of celebrating.
Yeah, my brother's birthday is on the 13th. It falls on Mother's Day a lot.
Yeah.
So all right. Does anyone in the chat have anything? I don't want to jump right into this topic of the day. I mean, I guess we could, and then just kind of let it roll on after that. That's usually what drags up questions, and then we get into the deeper things in life. Wow, you have the Confiscate Alliance cover.
Yeah.
You want to keep that in mint condition there. I just sold one of those for $100.
Whoa. Oh, well, I'll put it right back in the plastic.
Did I made it to the toilet? Yes. I actually ended the stream a few minutes early.
Excellent. That's fantastic. This is what everyone wants to know.
Michael Pernesti says Elliot is appropriating Mother's Day. Confirmed. All right.
Am I? Yeah, I guess so. Why not?
All right, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to jump ahead into this terrible story. But first, I'm going to find where I put it. Because
you got me curious.
That's just how organized of a guy I am. All right, here, let's grab this. Copy it. Grab this. Come on now.
I didn't know I was going to jump into the lion's den with...
yeah, you're right here, man.
With words like retarded and kill him. I go, oh, whoa. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, just wait.
Yeah.
If this website will ever open, we can actually do this. Turn on my Brave. And once again, transition. Bing! All right. From ChristianHeadlines.com, Democrat John Rogers apologizes for saying retarded babies should be aborted, but maintains stance on unwanted babies. State Representative, why are all these pop-ups coming up? This is Brave. This should not have pop-ups. State Representative John Rogers apologized. This is John Rogers here. He looks like a nice old man, but apparently he's Satan. Apologized earlier this week for his comment that retarded babies should be aborted. Late in April, Alabama Democrat John Rogers voiced his support for abortion during a House debate on pro-life bill, stirring up controversy with his appeal. Hey, stop with the noise. That wasn't in the article. That was me yelling at my child.
Right.
Quote, "Some kids are unwanted, so you kill them now or you kill them later," he said. "You bring them into the world unwanted, unloved, you send them to the electric chair." I didn't know that was the plan, but all right. Rogers continued his remark. "Some parents can't handle a child with problems. It could be retarded. It might have no arms and no legs." Although he initially defended his statements, according to Yellowhammer News, the representative regretted his choice of words on Talk 99.5's Matt and Ani show? That's weird. "The R word is a word that's old and dates back to the 1940s. It's not mentally challenged. It's a different meaning to it now. But I did use it. I was wrong about the retarded thing," Rogers said. "I'm shying away from the fact that I used the word retarded." Rogers also commented on two mentally challenged friends whom he loves to death. "I support special needs children, and they love me unconditionally. I have relatives and friends with special needs kids, so using that word was wrong. Charge it to my head, not my heart," he said. As pro-life news... Hold on, let me get through this crap. As Life News points out, however, Rogers did not apologize for saying unwanted babies should be aborted. "I stand with what I said," Rogers told AL. I don't know what this guy talks like. I don't know why I'm talking like that. A lot of folks screamed at me. I got calls, too, from a lot of folks across the U.S. who said I'm right. Can't nobody apologize for me but me." Rogers also apologized for his clash with Donald Trump Jr. when he suggested that the president's son should have been aborted. "He took a shot at me. I took a shot at him," Rogers said. "I apologize to him. I ain't got no problem doing that in public." House Bill 314 bans all abortions, even in case of rape or incest, with a felony charge for practitioners who perform the procedure. It passed in a Republican-dominated House and almost unanimously now waits for state approval. Of Alabama lawmakers hope the bill will work its way to the U.S. Supreme Court in order to challenge Roe versus Wade. So, what do you get from that, Elliot?
I don't want to do false piety here, but I think of the passage that says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks."
Yeah,
what
true.
Man thinks in his heart, so is he. I don't buy any of that. I don't buy it.
I mean, he doesn't change what he's saying at all. He's just apologizing for using an outdated word, as if that is the biggest offense. The most egregious thing that he said was the word retarded.
Not the killing of children.
Not the, well, if they're retarded, kill them. That's not the problem. It's just using the word retarded. It's
that's the time we live in, right? That's what we've been talking about this so much lately, and maybe sometimes it gets hard to talk about it further. But the reality is, people are more concerned. I was just dealing with my kids the other day. My son said something to my daughter, not terribly appropriate, but he said something's foolish. She gets upset, and she's more upset because he used the term. Actually, he used that term.
Yeah.
And she got all upset, and she goes, "He called me retarded." And I said, "Well, listen, at some point, all kinds of people are going to call you names." But she was more concerned about that. She goes, I told her, I said, I forget what she said, but she goes to me, "Well, if they were in school, they would have done something about it." I said, "What? They would have done something about that in school, but anybody can do all sorts of things, and no one's really challenging anything else. But that's just that use of the word." So we're living in that time where use of a word is more dangerous than the actual act of anything else.
They would have done something about someone calling someone else retarded in school, but they also would have taken her to the abortion clinic if she wanted it.
Right.
It's so upside down. Our culture is so upside down. It doesn't. And you
It's
know,
sad. Sad.
my son is retarded, so I don't, and I do not shy away from the use of the word because it is the accurate descriptor. He's not disabled, and I always have to. That is such a wrong descriptor of what he is. He's developmentally retarded. He is his literally the word retardation. It's slow. His development is slowed from the norm. It is the one word that describes him accurately. And when I try to use other words, I'm trying to dance around something else that doesn't fit. You know?
Right.
And it drives me nuts that it's this, third rail language. People get so much more upset about a stupid freaking word than they do about killing babies
who are in that case developmentally challenged.
Right.
See, that's the problem, right? So let me just say, like, just for people who may be kind of like, what are they talking about? Even the word retard is used in art. You use a retardant.
That's true. It's true. In oil paints, yeah.
Oil paints.
Acrylics, huh?
Yeah,
Retards the drying.
And so is water to acrylic paint and all that sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you end up. It means what it means because it's the most accurate way to describe what is going on. That people feel are hurt about it or offended by it has nothing to do with the definition.
Yeah, it's just people not wanting to be insulted. It's like, get over it. You get rid of one word, someone's going to come up with another word to insult you. Just grow a freaking thicker skin. Deal with it.
And that was my lesson to my daughter. I said that this is not the first or the last time you'll hear anything that you won't like.
Right.
So I'm trying to teach them to grow that thicker skin. It's just the culture is demanding more and more from just useless stuff from them. And I hate to talk like that because I feel like I'm just reiterating what everybody already knows, but it's just crazy. I don't even know how to teach them anything because they're getting bombarded with that kind of communication. Oh, you got to be upset about this, but all that stuff, that's fine. Just take this pill, go to the clinic, no problem. Don't control yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do anything that's good for you. Just take this next chemical that's gonna, who knows what's gonna happen to you then, or this next, just do this thing and pretend it never happened. It's crazy.
Have you thought about homeschooling?
We did. It wasn't good for us because we were not equipped for it. We tried it for a while and it was just more challenging for us to execute that. And right now, I'm going through all kinds of stuff with my kids, but I wish we could do it again. I don't know how to do it though.
Yeah, my wife is getting to the point where she wants to get them back. We were in a homeschool center before, which was like, now they go to a homeschool center that's one day a week, and then they homeschool the other days, except for Eden, and she's suffering for it. She's her academics this year, and actually since she's been out of homeschool, it's so weird. Man, there's just, you expect too much, and I understand, it's like parents should be involved and all that stuff. That's kind of the thing. That's the crux of homeschooling, right? You're involved. You ask your kids, "Are you done?" And if they're not done and they're watching TV or something, you make them go do their stuff. But it's this out of sight, out of mind thing when you send them to school. She goes to a charter school. And it's out of sight, out of mind. She goes to the school, and then suddenly you sort of automatically just are like, well, she has teachers there, right? What's the teacher's job? The teacher's job is to make sure she's doing her work. And then I don't get any indication that she's not turning in her work until her grades are in the freaking dump. And I'm like, you could have said something at some point, at any point before it got this bad. And then her friend is looking through her back, and this is partially my fault. Okay, this is my fault. Well, partially. It's partially my fault. Well, I have the thing in my house. It's sort of a motto in my house: do it right or don't do it at all. right?
Yeah,
I
sure.
push for perfection, or you strive for perfection, whatever it is.
Right, right. I
Do
get you.
whatever you do it to the best of your ability. That is a Christian. It was sort of. Can you turn that off? You know, all that you do as unto Christ, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
an ethic.
that's kind of always been my sort of objectivist mentality about doing anything. Even
Right.
when I was cleaning the popcorn machine at the movie theater, it's like, do it to the best of your ability. Yeah, go party time, hard work over nothing at all. But so what happened was my daughter's friend was looking in her backpack, and she found all this homework that was done, but that she hadn't turned in because it wasn't perfect.
Oh. Oh, interesting.
I'm like, I think you're taking it a little step too far.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's you're missing the point there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but it's definitely pervasive in our culture. We have it's happening over on my end too. And the irony of that is we have a system here called EDSB. It's an application, a site where we can go to and track what homework they have. But there's an apathy setting into this culture because they're not required beyond the expectations. And I'm going to tell you, these teachers care. The ones I'm dealing with, they care about my son and they care about his academics. It's that the culture is saying it's okay not to care about it. It's that whole thing, the Al Gore thing, where you're going to be smarter than your parents, and they believe some of that hype, and so they don't think they need to do anything. Or I just thought it was going to be like hyperbole, man. But these guys really believe that we owe them something. And I'm more and more shocked at how anyone thinks that they can. I tell myself, I'm a little crazy about this, but I go, man, even if we go full socialist communist, people could still get mad because you're not doing your part. They're still going to be mad at you. You
Oh
better
yeah.
figure this.
Oh yeah. Bernie Sanders got kicked out of his hippie commune because he wasn't doing anything.
See, just
Just funny. But you know what? What you said brings up an interesting point. The mentality, and yeah, during Al Gore, and I think this is the whole thing about Common Core.
Yeah.
Is that they're training kids to learn in a way that their parents won't understand.
Yeah.
Right? And it elevates them to a position of, well, that the teachers are smarter than my parents. I'm smarter than my parents. It is something that they did in Nazi Germany. And I hate jumping to Nazi Germany, but it's something they did in Nazi Germany where they tried to convince, the Hitler Youth that their parents didn't know what they were talking about, so that they could escape the moral lessons of reasonable people, right? To follow the indoctrination of the state. And when I was seeing what they were doing with Common Core, I was like, this is freaking straight out of the Nazi playbook.
Yeah, there's challenges to it now, at least in my end over here in Florida, because it's not even, some of the kids are having a hard time. It's just not practical. I've talked to a couple of teachers that I know, and one in particular seemed to celebrate the idea of it, saying that it was a better way to teach them critical thinking skills. But my whole thing is like, but it's also putting them in a bind where they can't be successful with just basic knowledge of how to get out of 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So my son's actually struggling with some of that, and not because he's unintelligent. He's a very bright young man, but he's just struggling with that. So then now there's another thing, because on top of that, they're like, well, it doesn't matter anyway. And I remember when I was a kid, man, everything mattered. Every class mattered. I didn't know I had an option like they have today. But today they're like, well, maybe it doesn't, I don't have to do that this time. Like, you're crazy. But you couple that with the way that, just what you said, now it's certain vocabulary is not acceptable. Certain lifestyle is not acceptable. Next thing you know, I can't talk to my son a certain way because it might offend him or hurt him, or
right. And
really
that's the thing. I mean, if you go back and you listen, if you've studied like the way they did things in Nazi Germany or in in communist Russia. With, read the Gulag Archipelago is a good example. Man, that dissimilation between parent and child, that's how you get children turning their parents in for not agreeing with the state. That's the slow, slippery road we get to get there. And it used to be that, before, I hate to keep ragging on Common Core, but before Common Core, this was just the model of higher education since the 60s, when the left started taking over, actually maybe earlier than the 60s, but the left started taking over academia. That was their goal, and they were very, very successful at it, because now they've completely taken over academia. And now all the elites, which means people who've graduated from these Ivy League schools, they're all leftists. And that's the whole planned economy part, planned society. It's like you have the elites ruling the world, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone who's not in the elite is too dumb to know how things should work. And so therefore they have to be the ones planning the economies, and society and business and everything.
You mean like the deplorables?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Case in point.
Yeah, I love that. How wonderful. No, and I'm not trying, I'm generally anymore not that political. But you don't need to be. This is not about being political. This is about just acknowledging what's happening around you, and the shackles they're putting on us as parents, as leaders in our communities. And I understand. I don't know. It's hard. We hear the news, and we hear about all these crazy cases of crazy things going on in our culture. But then I wonder, how much of that is inflated just so we can live in fear. Well, if I don't do this, this will happen. If I don't do that, that'll happen.
Well, yeah, so, fear is the great controller, right?
Right. Did God really say that? You got to take matters into your own hands. You better do this. So I don't know. It's definitely I don't want to say I don't know. That's also very cliche. I know. I'm not sure how to react to some of these things, because it's like what all can we do? So that's why voting's so important. While we still can, it still seems to matter, and it still has an impact. Go do it, whenever possible.
Yeah.
And make your voice heard that way, at least. It's the least you could do is vote.
Yeah, it's true. Let's see what the Peanut Gallery is saying about all this rigmarole.
Elliot guy's crazy. He's a kook. That's why I stopped saying stuff.
Sketch says, wouldn't anyone accusing Mike of being insensitive about using that word be admitting they don't know anything about Mike? I'm late, might be misreading the title. I think you did. I think you got in here in time to catch the story, right? Sketch.
I love Sketch.
Pernesti says, if parents were able to decide to kill him later, my mother would be coming for me 100%. You know what? Yeah. That's down and down and down we go. The slippery slope never ends.
Yeah, pretty soon it won't be just seconds after birth. It'll be years after birth.
That's right. That's right. I understand ancient Roman law was that you essentially owned your kid's life forever. So if there was any point at which you didn't think they should be alive anymore, you could abort them 20 years later.
Well, that's the
it wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't murder to kill your own children, or something like that.
Thanks.
I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I understand to be Roman law. Mike didn't want to be demonetized. Oh, I don't. Yeah, I don't monetize cross-examinations anyways, but yeah, I didn't want them to strike my whole channel because I put retarded in the title of a video.
And that's the other thing. I don't want to make this about me, but that's like the whole thing with the striking of channels for things like that. It's, we've become so dependent on these channels of
Mm-hmm.
communication. And man, that's the thing that scares me. I don't know about, I don't like to use the word scare too much, but what concerns me the most is that all of us are building up these little tiny kingdoms on somebody else's land,
Yep.
if you. And as soon as they say, "Hey, whoa, 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 did you just turn left?" Oh, forget it. You gotta pay for that. It's
No, no,
tax
no.
for that or
They
whatever.
don't mind you turning left. They only mind you turning right.
Right, right. Well, there you go. As an
Yeah.
example, right? But it's just it's a kooky time, and I don't know. My wife was asking me, and we were thinking about my son's future. We're like, I wonder if he'll end up in the military. And I'm like, gee, I don't know if I want that. There's good benefits for that. I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud to have served my country, but at the same time, what's going on there, I don't know. I, I'm only hearing these rumors of what's going on around the world. I'm like, yikes. So
Yeah.
again, more fear
Yeah.
to immobilize us.
I know. That is, again, why I'm a fan of blockchain and decentralization and cryptocurrency and all that stuff, because you can't, if the people who own the public square are going to be communists, then at some point, only one voice is going to be heard. So, uh, yeah, that's why I'm trying to get D Live to work again. It won't work. But
What do you mean?
I do want to build up D Live and go over there.
What's not working about D Live?
It won't stream from my OBS, and I don't have the technical fortitude to figure it out, or the time to invest in trying to figure it out. I guess I should, but I've been so stinking busy, especially since I launched the campaign, that it's, yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. We are so busy, right? Things that we ought to do, we're like we're drowning in a glass of milk sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and hey, at least I cut time out every day for cross examinations.
Boom. I like that. That was good.
Last Crusader says, I homeschool my 12-year-old because I'm not a communist. I think he's calling you a communist, Elliot.
Well, there you go. I'm no communist.
Yeah.
But
and you've got a thick
I
skin,
care.
so.
I care.
Last Crusader says, you are nailing it, Mike, about the school system. Yeah, they took over higher education now, and now they're going all the way down to kindergarten. Where there was another article I didn't even want to delve into, where they're teaching transgenderism in kindergarten. Didn't want to delve into that one again. It seems like Israel and transgender issues pop up almost daily now, and I'm like, how much can we do on this? It's frustrating.
Well,
And maybe that's the thing. They just wear you down. They just wear you down.
Yeah, that's the strategy I've been hearing about. From several conservative voices. They talk a lot about just wearing us down to the point where we're like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to fight this fight anymore because I've repeated myself 4 billion times.
Yeah.
And they keep doing it every day. Okay, if anyone really thinks that they should be teaching their children about transgenderism in kindergarten, you are unfit to be a parent. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I also question how many of these people actually have children.
Right. Right.
I do question it. I know that sounds crazy. I know there are people. That think this way, parents, I should say. But I cannot, in my heart of heart, really believe that a parent who cares about their children wants to put this much indoctrination in them. It just doesn't make any sense. It has to be other people who want to control your family. And then you see that also, by the way, because the trend is less family, more about casual sexuality and there's hardly any commitment to be spoken of anymore. And when it does happen, it leaves so many people vexed because they don't know how to handle these relationships anymore. So then they lose so much. And I don't know, man. I don't want to be a conspiracy guy, but more and more I'm like, gee whiz, it's almost like
A
They're
conspiracy.
trying to
It
it
is.
feels that.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. That's the thing. It's not a secret conspiracy. They're so open about it, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's still a conspiracy. It's just right out there in the open, and they're not pretending to be anything other than what they are, and they are actively and openly pushing this agenda and conspiring to push this agenda. And gosh, I mean, you got to hand it to them. They've done a hell of a good job from their perspective.
Yeah, I was listening to someone did a video on YouTube recording some of what Ocasio, whatever her name is, said
Oh,
recently.
occasional cortex.
There you go. And she said something like, I'm the boss now. And I'm like, man, I remember it wasn't that long ago. We said
How about that?
They were serving us, right? They were the public servants. Now they're the boss.
Right. It's
When
just
did
the
that
best
come
part
around?
about that video is when she says, "How about that?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you did not
Yeah.
just do the how about that, girl."
Or she said, I made a mistake. Deal with it. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You're on the biggest stage possible. You have the most impact on culture. What are you talking about? Deal with it. No, I will deal with it. You're not, well, I don't live in New York, but you won't get my vote, or hopefully. I don't
You
know,
know
but
what?
again,
Oh my gosh, I hate to bring this back to Hitler,
sure.
but I will. Dude, occasional cortex is, if you follow her path, she's a lot like Hitler, in the sense that Hitler was elevated to the party because he was essentially because he was a good speaker, right?
Mm.
It's not like he ever achieved a whole hell of a lot, right? And and he was charismatic, and he played this role. And then occasional cortex, you know how she got elected? Never mind how she got elected. You know how she got nominated?
Huh.
A casting
I
call.
know. What?
A casting call. They put out a casting call for someone to run for that congressional seat. She was a bartender. She didn't even apply for it. Her brother thought she could play this role. And her brother applied to this casting call for her, and then she went to it, and she landed the role of being a congresswoman in a district that anyone with a D after their name who was nominated would have won.
Mm.
She's a puppet. Yeah, but think about the similarity to the way Hitler was brought to power. So hopefully she doesn't, follow that track all the way. But the beginning of her career seems very similar.
She's also doesn't come across to me very bright or speaks very well.
No.
And it makes me wonder then, looking back at how the arts, this all ties back into the art for me. Not necessarily comic art, but the way that we handle communication. We've dumbed down everything so that nothing has value, right? It's all subjective. Art is what you make of it. You can be a speaker and not speak very well. They literally dumbed everything down. Even rap music is dumber than ever. Like just crazy stuff I hear in music, not just rap music. I'm commenting on that because my son's favorite music. I used to love rap music myself, but even then, I'm like, man, I remember when this music had a message, and now there's no message, and they celebrate that. So there's no message. There's nothing to say. Huh? What do you think?
What rap are we talking? Because there's always been two genres of rap: real life rap, right? Like early NWA, early Eminem, and then I've got all the crap I need. Let's just talk about bees and hoes rap. So
No. Growing up in New York City, there was a lot of what we would call conscious rap.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of art in it. There was a lot of bebop and a lot of discussion. There might have been some of that content, but a lot of it was just describing the culture you lived in, and then a lot of that sort of thing. So for me,
I think that's what I would refer to as the first part.
Yeah, that's what I come from. I come from that sort of thing and some of it, a lot of it could be very liberal. Again, I grew up in New York City, but a lot of it at least had some kind of like it was about communicating something. So there was that. Just like any music can do that, and any genre can do that. What I'm saying though is that as an art form, if you want to call it that, as an art form, I'm just saying, I'm just granting that some would want not to say that, but that's fine. That's their opinion. I'm just saying that that's not what's celebrated at all. Today, it's completely foolishness, just like literally like gibberish.
Yeah.
In some cases. And so, and what happens is people are getting rewarded for that gibberish, that they're not even saying anything. I mean, literally not saying anything. They're just making sounds and weird stuff. Not communicating anything in particular.
Are you familiar with schmoopity poop?
No, I'm not.
Seriously? I'm starting to really actually think Kanye West is a genius. I used to think he was the biggest idiot on the planet. But to illustrate the point you're making right now, he did a song called Schmoopity Poop, and that's all he said during the... It's just like schmoopity poop, poopity poopity schmoopity poop. I'm like, wow, this is exactly what Elliot's talking about, but he did it ironically.
Right. And he's mocking it. He's mocking that. Yeah, obviously. Right. And that's what I'm saying. But it's also happening in all sorts of music. And then whenever something has a message, it's usually shot down as, and especially if it's a conservative message or a Christian message or anything that's beyond that. So what I'm saying is that we broke everything down to literally just sound and utterances. We celebrate that. So then here comes this gal. She can literally just use a sentence and she sounds like a genius. But she's not.
No. I have yet to hear her utter a sentence that made her sound like a genius.
Well, she doesn't. I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, she comes
compared to schmoopity poop, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Well, she's not saying schmoopity poop.
Yeah. No, you know it isn't. I totally agree with you. It's a total cultural nosedive into getting away from what Jordan Peterson would call the hierarchy of competence, right? They hate the hierarchy of competence. The hierarchy of competence is a natural, a natural selection, so to speak, of those who are competent do well. And they hate that because not everyone is competent. In fact, you'll find that most people are incompetent. It's really annoying. Oh man, if you've ever had to try to hire anybody, you know this to be true.
Yeah.
Trying to find competent people to work for you is like... I'm sure it wasn't always this way. It's just that we've raised a generation of kids who haven't had to be competent at anything.
Right.
Everything's handed to you. A bunch of spoiled brats. But yeah, you even find this in animation, and I've made this point about the whole CalArts style. The CalArts style, they're teaching CalArts at one of the best art schools in the history of America, and they're teaching this dumbed down animation style that any third grader who can pick up a crayon could replicate. It's the dumbing down of animation. It's the dumbing down of the arts. It's the same thing with modern art.
Yeah.
Oh, Eden's writing an essay on that.
You know what's funny?
But she won't turn it in until it's perfect.
Until it's perfect, so we'll never know what her voice is. We'll never know what her real points were.
Yeah.
It's all your fault, Mike.
I know. It's all my fault.
I'm gonna put myself on the rack here and let people yell at me. I actually like some of that art, but I like it in the sense I like it in almost like I like children's book art. It has its place for things like that. What I find odd is that a bunch of adults have embraced it. And what I think the reason why they've embraced it is because it's the lowest form. You don't need to really know anatomy. You don't really need to spend any energy on,
that's right,
on aesthetic beyond.
You could have a minimalist skill set and still draw CalArts style. And that's the thing. I can agree with you in the sense that if it was like one cartoonist or whatever illustrator, director, and he's like, this is my style.
But all the cartoons.
Yeah, but they're teaching that style to be the norm, as if this is what we should accept and expect from animation. It's like, bruh, Go watch Snow White. That's what we should expect from animation. You know?
So
Or
I was
Akira. Come on.
yeah, yeah,
Aim for
yeah,
the
yeah.
stars here. Don't aim for the lowest common denominator.
So you'll love this. I was free comic book day. I was doing my local shop. I was invited to, and I was talking to these young artists, and some young men that I thought were pretty cool. They were like, we were talking, chatting. I said I was looking at the comic rack. I said I'm assuming they're there for the comic books. I said which I said I was critiquing something. I think it was critiquing. I was critiquing a book. I was like, oh, I like this, but this is some of what I was thinking. So I was trying to be, make some sense out of what I was looking at with them, hoping that would at least start a conversation. But they weren't biting. So then I said, well, what do you guys like here? And I realizing that maybe I wasn't speaking their language. So I said, what do you guys like? Again, I'm trying to critically think here. And they said, well, what do you mean? Like comic or like medium? I said, oh, okay, medium. All right. So I said, well, then medium, if that's your pleasure. What's your medium? Oh, we do something called it's called flow painting. Flow paint. Have you heard of this?
No.
Flow is an additive you add to paint that doesn't allow the multiple colors to mix in the beginning. It's like a retardant. And what it does is it keeps the paint separate so that as it flows down and you just pour it out, it creates these little random shapes and stuff, and it looks like nature did it, right? So these guys are talking all about it, they're waxing eloquent about it. And the one guy finally says the thing that I thought was stunning. He says, it almost takes no skill to do this. And I did that. And I said, wait a minute, you just said it takes no skill. So how did you do that? It was clearly just a chemical reaction. But we did that. No, you didn't. It looks like it. I like the results for like random abstract nonsense, but did you just confess that you have no skill?
Yes, he did.
I didn't know how to act. I just said, okay, all right, yeah, I guess. I said, well, maybe you could at least put it in a shape. Oh, yeah. And I went, yeah? You haven't gotten that far yet?
Oh, my gosh.
I was like...
And this was a free comic book day. What were they doing in a comic shop?
I have no idea. I think one of them was dating someone in the store.
Maybe they could do a flow comic.
That would be interesting.
Mark C for $10 says you should watch Art School Confidential. If you negate the Catch a Killer plot, they nail the art school experience and all of the ridiculousness it entails. Yeah.
Where's that at?
I don't know. I'll check it out. Art School Confidential. Withheld says all of this dumbing down is more offensive to me as an autistic person than the word retard.
Yeah, well, exactly. Because they think that we're completely moronic and we have no ideas, or we're vegetables or something. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Hey, Withheld, how does it feel for you as an autistic person that because people are so offended by the word retard now, they start calling people autistic as a replacement for the word retard?
Yeah.
That's
right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Right.
My wife works with autistic children at the school she works at. That's her job. And we love those kids, man. And I'm telling you, she treats them like they're our kids. Yeah, man, it's just, again, I'm not gonna fight that battle because I feel like I still believe in sticks and stones. That's how it works. But at the same time, yeah, how does that? How does that make people feel now? Did you see the video that Quartering put out about the gentleman that was is in a wheelchair? They wanted to write this article at MTV. I was just thinking, I said, whatever happened to MTV? Are they even still on television at all? And sure enough, they came into the news. Oh, we're upset because the length of Endgame is ableist. Ableist? Oh man. Now that's the thing.
The length?
Right. So they're saying that the length of the film does not allow people that have problems with, who are in wheelchairs or physically disabled to be able to enjoy the film adequately because it's so long that they have to use the restroom. Oh, it was a crazy. Quartering covered it. What was his name again? Jeremy.
Jeremy.
He covered it, and it was fascinating.
That's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
We're living in a weird time, man.
Dude, the level of stupid is like over 9,000.
It's Super Saiyan already.
Yeah.
That's good.
They can't sit that long. Hey, I have the bladder of a little girl. A 3-hour movie was killing me, but I didn't complain.
Yeah, you know what I do? I plan. If I know it's a long movie, I won't drink anything. I'm serious. I won't drink anything. I'm like, okay, I know this is going to be a long one because I want to see it. I'm one of those guys that I'm like, be quiet. I want to get every single...
Yeah, that's right.
Every single nuance of the language as much as I can. And I still miss stuff. But every once in a while, if I have to... So then they were talking about that there's actually people who do little... I thought this was pretty cool. To help people who have issues with restroom stuff, they'll do like schedules in the movie. Say, this is the best time to hit the head, if you will.
And then everybody runs to the head.
Yeah. And Quartering said that that happened to him. And a bunch of people got up at the same time because that was the right time to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. That's how you resolve it. You come up with solutions. That's how you do that.
Withheld says, "What the heck even is ableism? It's probably made up. It is absolutely made up. It's being offended that they're not taking handicapped people into handicap being the umbrella term for anyone who is not completely able."
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not taking anyone who's not normative into account, then you're being ableist.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's laughable, man. It really is laughable.
It is.
It makes me feel dumber just to breathe.
I know.
Today's oxygen is 100% dumber.
It's true. Art School Confidential says Mark C for $5 is a film that co-stars John Malkovich, Sophia Myles, Jim Broadbent, and Angelica Houston. Interesting. Interesting
list of names.
Yeah, ableism is a made-up grievance. Well, gosh, we didn't get... This was very cultural today rather than biblical. But I guess that's where we went with this ridiculous story about this ridiculous Democrat. What is he, a congressman or a state representative? Yeah, so he's a congressman, right? Is that right?
Yeah. State representative? Yeah, he's a congressman. Well, no, he's a state congressman.
Oh. Well, whatever he is, he's a douchebag.
Right, because the article's arguing they want to fight Roe versus Wade in their state, in Alabama, which, by the way, your accent was spot on for Alabama.
Oh, was it? Bama.
Well, it was close. It was close enough for you. I'll buy it.
I wasn't doing the North Carolina.
No. Alabama.
Welcome to Alabama.
Very southern.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of different dialects, and people from Mississippi don't sound like people from the Carolinas.
Yeah, but I'm not going to worry about that either. That's one last thing I got to worry about. Did I get the dialect right?
I need to get my dialect exact. Now this guy's from Mobile instead of from
That's a Mobile accent. That's not quite. I'm listening to a book right now. It's a horror book that I got through Amazon, and it takes place like in the late 70s, and it takes place in the South, and the narrator's doing a great job. I'm like, whoa, and they're addressing some interesting time, time not sensitive. What's the word? Time specific language. I said, whoa, that's pretty interesting. I haven't heard that much discussion on how people thought from that part of the country in a while.
Have you ever read Black Liberals and White Liberals and Black Rednecks? Wait, is that right? Thomas Sowell?
No, I haven't. I've not read any Thomas Sowell. I've seen interviews with him. I've never read him.
Oh, he goes into this very interesting sort of entomology on where what we consider today the black dialect comes from. The black dialect.
Uh-huh.
And it's so what happened was it was white racism against other whites that I kid you not. So the Southern English and the Irish, I think,
Okay.
when they came over here to America, were the Northmen. That's, remember the whole North versus South thing. Anyways, the northern people, whatever, they didn't want them there. So when they came over to immigrate to America, they sent them all down south, right? And that's where the dialect comes from. And when they started hiring the slaves, or when they started buying the slaves for their, when the slaves learned English, they learned this Irish / Southern English dialectic where they use words like axe and I can't remember all the other things, but just the general dialect that you hear from what we consider modern black dialect. It's all because they learned it from those what Northerners considered lower class Englishmen, right? And then over time, after slavery was abolished and the blacks moved into their own, they took over. I don't know how do you say it. People grouped together, right? So when they moved up to Illinois, they all kind of grouped together in their own look, and they maintained that dialect. Whereas in the South, generally, the dialect kind of morphed into whatever different Southern accents and dialects you hear today. But it's maintained through the black culture, an early Southern English dialect. And so, yeah, the book's not just about that, but that was one of the points one of the things he was talking about in the book, and it was just very interesting to me.
Dude, that's one of I love that topic because I'm always trying to figure out, like, the New York accent, for example. It's very, I've been able to detect it. It's very, very strongly Jewish. At least in a lot of places, when you hear people speak with a New York accent, you hear a lot of like Yiddish in it. And I think there's a lot of also, it's a mix with that in Italian. But I'm fascinated by it because those are just my observations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to research that further because that's one of my favorite topics is how did, because I was doing accents and voices.
Right.
I also like drawing different ethnicities. So like for me, it's always important to acknowledge like where does all this come from, and not just accept it for what it is, but why it is, and then that helps to inform you later.
Right.
Regardless.
Kathy Stark for $4.99 says, "Good discussion today, guys. Elliot, really liking your interpretation of Lone Star." And yeah, I do too, and I appreciate it. And Elliot, I'm gonna end this. Do you want to stick around and start another stream? Because I don't want cross examinations to go too much over an hour, and it's already at that.
Yeah,
all right. Well, guys, thanks for being here. If I'm just gonna stop this stream in about 2 minutes. Start up another one. John Malin, I'll send you the link if you want to come in. We can just do a hangout and pimp some comics, talk about the future of Elliot's Doom Kickers and Lone Star, and I'll probably start drawing some stuff. But come on back, y'all. God bless. Elliot, thank you for being here, and we'll see you in a bit.
Yes, sir.